When a French diver finds a downed aircraft at the bottom of the ocean, something invades his body. A black oil. From here, Mulder picks up an investigation that leads him all the way to China,
only to come face to face with the elusive Krychek. Skinner takes it upon himself to investigate Melissa's murder, but gets more than he bargained for.
It's not happening.
A French salvage ship, the Piper Maru, limped into port in San Diego yesterday, all the way from the North Pacific.
Why is that of interest?
Using the National Weather Service satellite system, I was able to track its course. This was its original position.
Longitude 171 east, latitude 42 north.
Yeah, that's where the boat we know as the Talipus pulled up what you believe was a Russian sub and what I believe was the remains of a UFO.
Oh, Mulder.
Look, Scully, I don't know what it is, but something is still down there, and now the French are looking for it, too.
So what?
So why all the attention paid to this site? What information are they acting on?
Why don't you just ask them?
I would, but the entire crew is being treated for radiation burns.
From exposure to what?
The French government is keeping that information classified for some reason.
Well, could it have anything to do with their resumption of nuclear tests?
I checked. It's thousands of miles away from any test site. What?
I'm just constantly amazed by you. You're working down here in the basement, sifting through files and transmissions that any other agent would just throw away in the garbage.
Well, that's why I'm in the basement, Scully.
And you're in the basement because they're afraid of you, of your relentlessness, and because they know that they could drop you in the middle of the desert and tell you the truth is out there and you'd ask them for a shovel.
That's what you think of me?
Well, maybe not a shovel. Maybe a backhoe.
Well, that's good, because there's some garbage in San Diego I want you to help me dig through.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You're listening to This Is Not Happening, another X-Files podcast with me, Andrew, and as always, with my good friend, Mike. Mike, say hello to the nice people.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be back. It's been a little bit for us.
It's been a hot minute, yeah.
It has.
Well, I did a little vacationing, and you did, I don't know, what, a little hard rock? What?
Little hard rock.
Little hard rock?
Little work. Little doggy daycare.
Yeah, that always gets in the way. Always get in the way.
Yeah, it was boring over here, but it sounds like you had a lot of fun, so that's exciting.
I did. It was a family vacation. That is to say, it was a vacation with zero tourism, just surrounded by families. So, you know.
Was Irish Andrew there?
He was there.
Was
I
he?
left him in Ireland because nobody respects Irish Andrew.
I heard he was going into solitude and seclusion after one of our fans berated him after his one and only appearance. He
only
lost
took one negative comment and he went into a tailspin.
Apparently. That poor guy.
Yeah, totally.
He didn't deserve that. I really hope, I wish the best for him. I do.
One day maybe. If we have an Irish-themed episode again, one day.
One day.
All right. Well, this is not that episode tonight.
No. This is a French episode.
It is the French episode. So clearly, I need to be speaking with my Gallic accent. It'll be French, Andrew. Eh?
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Everybody's looking forward to... No, I won't do that because the French in this, it's not France. They don't go to France. They don't have a French character. It's just a diver. That's all it is.
Just a diver, a French team.
We are speaking of the episode Piper Maru. You figured that out because it showed up in your feed. This is not a surprise to you. Episode 15 of season 3. This one's written by Frank Spotnitz and Chris Carter, and it's the first part of an epic two-parter.
Yeah, epic to say the least. We get some additions to the mythology here that become very, very prominent and important. So
yes. They kick the ball down the field a little bit as far as mythology goes. And as always, they bring out the big guns for this. No contractors, no one-hit wonders. This is Rob Bowman at the helm, and it is going to be a good one, I think. Yeah. Special notes on this one? Did you have anything you wanted to say before we go in, or save those as we go?
No, I think we should dive in.
No, it does apply in this one.
It does apply.
It totally applies.
It was low-hanging fruit.
It is the first of a two-parter, and yeah, it's let's just do it. Let's just I will give you the show that is Piper Maru. We open up on stock footage of a ship at sea. Not very good stock, in fact.
It's not very good. You can see it twisting and turning. It's not very good composite image, but
yeah, exactly. But we are told that this is the Pacific Ocean, latitude 42 degrees north, longitude 171 degrees east. Now, Mike, I know I've been talking about this for about 15 seconds so far.
Uh-oh.
But I looked that up on Google Maps.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Do you know where 42 north, 171 east is?
It is not here. That's my guess.
It is definitely not here. It is the fat middle of nowhere, 3,000 kilometers east of Japan in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So, I repeat, the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Uh-huh.
And the scene we are shown is the smoothest water. You know, like it is a nice day on the ocean right there. I am expecting huge ocean waves, not these still off the shore waters of Vancouver.
Is that to say there can never be calm seas in the middle of the Pacific?
If you're going to do that, one of your characters has to go out on the deck and say, shiver, the ocean is it.
She's quiet today, lass.
She's quiet today. I don't know why. They don't do that.
They didn't set that up very well.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. Well, we have a group of French divers preparing to submerge a deep-sea diving suit, going through their pre-dive checks. Divers lowered into the calm waters of the Pacific. As we all know, they
unusually
are calm as can be. By a crane, and he descends into darkness. Inside the control center of the ship, we learn that Gautier, the diver, has descended to 270 meters below sea level. And there is some background radiation being detected. Their spirits surge. They've been searching for a needle in a haystack for 3 months, and maybe, just maybe, it's right there beneath them. Gautier approaches a structure, shining his light over it. He sees a serial number, and we soon discover that this is a lost fighter plane from World War II. Gautier suggests that maybe it is one of the squadron, which is cause for great celebration among the crew. However, Gautier hears a banging noise, which the crew also can hear. Suddenly, Gautier's signal cuts out, and the crew frantically try to restore contact to no avail. We come back to Gautier, who continues to investigate the banging, when he discovers that it's coming from the cockpit of the plane, where we see the pilot, impossibly alive after 50 years, is trapped inside. Mark Snow's soundtrack swells as the two men lock eyes, and the ancient pilot's eyes glaze over with a black haze. Ooh. Later, at night, Gautier's deep-sea suit surfaces to the ship. The crew get him out of the suit, which seems to be covered with oil. Inside, Gautier is just fine. When asked what happened down there, Gautier simply says he was disoriented. Nothing happened down there. As the crew moves away, though, the camera closes in on his face, and we see a thin haze of oil cross his eyes.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. He's full of oil.
Couple things.
Yeah, go for it.
This, number one, you couldn't pay me enough. Number two, to be that pilot just chilling at the bottom of the ocean for 50 years.
Yeah.
Whether or not you are invaded by an alien substance. I mean,
that's a thing.
How much poo is in that ship?
Is this the time where we're going to unpack the alien superpowers, the black oil alien? Because you raise an interesting point.
The no food, no poo. I don't really know how this works. We don't, to be fair, the rest of the show does not explain how it affects the body. There are very questionable things, not just here, but in the rest of the series with the black oil.
Yes.
But
yes,
this one seems a little big for the opening introduction to the black oil.
Yes. Well, what we know is it can preserve alive its host for a long time.
Gives superhuman strength.
Yeah. Well, that comes later, but just so far what we know is it can preserve the host for a long time.
Yes.
Perhaps removing the need to defecate.
Absolutely.
Because I'm assuming he's not eating. You know, what's he
absolutely not.
50 years, he's run out of his K-bars. You know, he's done.
Yeah, he's done.
So he's not pooping. And he's not drinking. So yeah, I think the oil can sustain him in some way. And that will become relevant because Krychek's going to need to be sustained for a little time at the end of the episode.
I might be a little too harsh in this moment, because now that I think about it, in all the sci-fi out there, I've never seen an alien hunch over a toilet. So it could just be a known fact that aliens do not defecate.
Well, they do in a different way. They do it when they shake mentally. Human hands. It comes out in their handshake, and then we just look at it and go, "Oh, that's strange." But they go, "You just touched my poop."
Hey, poopy.
Well, you said a couple things. Did you want to add a couple more things, or is that your...
No, that's pretty much it. Just one, I would never do this, and two, this is a long time and a slightly confusing as to the logistics of this. But yeah, we're good. Not off the ship yet.
Now, Mike, have you ever played the game Axis and Allies? Did you ever play that?
I have not.
Okay, well...
I know of it.
Okay, well, a big part of it is essentially when America gets into a position to attack Japan at the end, they have bombers and planes and stuff, and the bombers at some point can make it from Midway to attack Japan if they get a certain tech. But the fighter planes, they can never make it there. They don't have enough range. Okay. What we're told is that this is a P-51, a fighter plane, which is in escort to B-29s. And so I don't know how it gets 3,000 kilometers east of Japan. That's just silly.
Oh, okay. Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Maybe he glided that far and ended up there. I don't know.
I have people I can ask about the logistics of that, if we can... John, I had a quick question as my leading authority on aviation. I wanted to know, because we are covering an X-Files episode where they claim a P-51 Mustang could make it to Japan. And I don't think they gave us a takeoff point, but it seemed a little far. So I wanted your knowledge on that. Would a P-51 be able to make it to Japan?
It really depends on when during the war this happened. The P-51 was classically in the skies over Europe. There really wasn't any P-51s in the Pacific until late in the war after Germany surrendered. They shipped a bunch of P-51s out.
What was the range in miles, do you think?
P-51 can do about 1,000 to 1,500 miles, depending on belly tanks and that kind of thing. So if it was flying to Japan, it definitely couldn't do it from mainland US or even Hawaii. But if it was late enough in the war, we had captured Okinawa and Iwo Jima, which were both airfield islands right outside of Japan. And that's actually where a lot of these airplanes were shipped to escort bombers over Japan during the end of the war.
So in the surrounding islands, they could have been there already, and then they could have made that journey. Okay.
The Enola Gay and the other B-29 that dropped the atomic bombs came from the Mariana Islands to the east, but they did fly over Iwo Jima, although they didn't fly with escorts, which is kind of crazy. Nuts. They flew lone bombers over Japan to trick the Japanese into thinking they were just recon flights and not actual bombing runs. So it's interesting that the P-51s would have escorted the B-29s over Japan at the end of the war, but if it was one of the atomic dropping bombs, that didn't happen.
Okay, I believe in the episode it was an escort, so that's interesting. A supposed third bomb was on its way, but. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to pick your brain about that because Andrew and I were a little confused as to how it could make it 3,000 miles off the coast of Japan. We're like, don't know if that's possible, but we'll ask John. So I appreciate your help, sir.
Well, I'm glad I could help.
Starting in FBI HQ, Washington, D.C., Scully steps out of an elevator and walks down the hall, passing Skinner's office. He pops out and beckons Scully in, excusing his secretary. Skinner tells Scully that a memo came across his desk last night concerning Scully, or more specifically, Melissa.
It's been 5 months and there have been no new leads or evidence in her murder investigation by the D.C. police team or the Bureau. I've been told the case is to be made inactive until further notice.
I see.
I don't think there's anything to be read into this. I think it's a case of manpower and workload. I want you to know that I am going to appeal this decision, and I'm going to go back over all the evidence again myself to make sure that nothing has been overlooked.
You know, it's strange. Men can blow up buildings, and they can be nowhere near the crime scene, but we can piece together the evidence and convict them beyond a doubt. Our labs here can recreate out of the most microscopic detail the motivation and circumstance to almost any murder, right down to a killer's attitude towards his mother and that he was a bedwetter. But in the case of a woman, my sister, who was gunned down in cold blood in a well-lit apartment building by a shooter who left the weapon at the crime scene, we can't even put together enough to keep anybody interested.
I don't think this has anything to do with interest.
If I may say so, sir, it has everything to do with interest. Just not yours and not mine.
Scully drops in on Mulder. He wanted to talk to her. The French salvage ship Piper Maru. Also, Mike, the name of Gillian Anderson's daughter, Piper Maru.
Piper
Maru. So this is the ship of the pre-credit sequence, has limped into the port of San Diego last night. Mulder tracked its course from 42 north, 171 east, which Mulder helpfully reminds us is where the boat known as the Talapis, previously seen in Nisei, supposedly picked up something Mulder believed to be an UFO. Scully rubs her forehead wearily. Here we go again. She suggests questioning the crew, except they've all been quarantined for radiation poisoning. Mulder's relentless determination prompts a great scene between Mulder and Scully. She's amazed by him. He goes through files and transmissions other agents would dismiss as garbage and doggedly follows up these leads. He hands her a ticket and wants her to check out the lead in San Diego, which is exactly what she wanted to do today.
Yeah, this is right on the top of her list, especially after the news she just got.
Yeah.
Poor Scully.
Now, what do you think about her not revealing this detail to Mulder?
I think she's still processing. Number one, we know she's a person who likes to keep things in, especially when it's really personal, like after her abduction and during the Donnie Pfaster case, she was very hesitant to show anything. It's not that she doesn't want to, maybe, but she's a close to the chest person while she processes her deep feelings. I think this one is fresh, and she's not ready to hear Mulder's kooky theories about it.
Definitely. Well, we cut to the San Diego Naval Hospital, where men are lying in special beds. Their skins are flayed and mottled. They have open sores. They're gross. Dr. Sizer doesn't know how to treat them, as the French have been secretive about how they came to be this way. Scully asks if the symptoms are acute or somatic, which blows Sizer's mind. How can ladies so hot be so smart? Until she confirms he's actually a doctor, and he reveals that they're somatic. Now, Mike...
And he reveals his boner.
He reveals his massive erection. I am not a radiation specialist. I'm not even a doctor.
What?
But I think they may have botched the terminology here.
Okay.
Because I think what Scully is trying to ask is, are these like short-term, just happened yesterday kind of radiation burns, or are these burns that have developed over a long time? Because acute effects from an intense source of radiation are what happen really quickly.
Fast, yeah. And
gradual or chronic effects happen from low levels of radiation over a long time. Somatic doesn't really fit here. It describes how the effect presents. Which may explain why Dr. Sizer is confused, but not for the right reasons.
Oh. Well, tell you what, I have Frank Spotnit's phone number.
Oh, let's give him a call.
Yeah, let's give him a call and be like, what the fuck, sir?
What are you doing with this bullshit writing?
28 years have gone by, and we're the ones to bring this up?
Yep. Well, and to this point, he should be saying that they're acute, because they're presented so rapidly, not that they're somatic.
And they even go into that. They don't say the same terminology, but the next episode, they talk about how fast they develop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is interesting.
Well, they yada about radiation some more. What we are meant to take away is that it's not looking good for these sailors. The source doesn't appear natural, and the level of damage these guys are suffering is similar to what the victims of Hiroshima would have suffered. So, hey, a little Early tie into World War II stuff.
Yeah.
Though how Scully knows any of this is pretty suspect. Because, I mean, we know she's a doctor, which I suppose gives
She's
her some...
a doctor of everything.
Come on. She's a doctor. She knows these things.
She has been established, Andrew, as a doctor. So
yes.
Anything revolving medical field, she will know off the top of her head.
Except how to actually heal people.
Except resuscitation.
Yeah, she's good at declaring people dead. But
tell you what, she can identify a dead person from across the room without having been near her. But God help us, she cannot resuscitate anyone.
I would not want her to be my trauma surgeon.
No.
So Mulder chimes in that the radiation might be normal on some other planet, not this planet, which nobody takes the moment to actually acknowledge.
Whatever, Mulder.
I mean, he said it under his voice, so they weren't meant to hear it. That's his inside voice. Dr. Sizer notes that one of the crew was completely unaffected by the radiation. He piloted the boat in and discharged himself this morning. That's suspicious.
Or sus, as the kids would say.
Sus. We cut to Gautier, arriving home to his apartment. He glances at a photo where we see him having a delightful time with a woman photoshopped in front of the Eiffel Tower. The phone rings, but he ignores it, moving further into the apartment.
Speaking of that photo, I'm sorry.
Please, yes.
The people are almost chromatically not conducive to the rest of the picture. Does that?
Well, that's why it looks so bad.
It's like, what is going on here? Half this photo's in black and white.
I know we can pause it. But in 1998, you wouldn't have paused it. You wouldn't have been able to really. And it probably would have been okay on a smaller screen. But looking at it now,
it just looks like black and white and then color people.
Like, it could have been anywhere. Why does it have to be bad?
Because he's French.
Parking lot.
He's French.
Right.
Remember, Chris Carter still is part of this episode. So he's going to beat you over the head with something.
I hope that there is a pennant somewhere in the apartment that says "Go les Tigres" or something.
Walt Disneyland France or Paris.
That's right, Euro France. Okay. Well, over at the Piper Maru, workers decked out in yellow radiation gear are leaving the boat. Scully and Mulder pick up and speak to Wayne Morgan with the Navy's Investigative Services Unit. Wayne tells the agents that his crew have been over the entire ship and haven't picked up any trace of radiation. Curiouser and curiouser. The agents go aboard. Inside, their flashlight sabers track across the gangways of the ship as they search from room to room. Eventually, Mulder discovers the deep-sea diving suit and sees a sheen of oil stuck to it. With no sense of self-preservation, he dabs at it with his fingers, and it looks like he's even going to taste it. I mean, really?
Canola.
That's poison, all right.
Did you recognize Wayne, by the way?
Yeah, I've seen him before. I couldn't remember what.
First retread. He's in a few episodes, and I'll mention he's the TACCOM guy from Dwayne Barry.
Yep. I knew he was a cop. I knew that's where I'd seen him before. Scully finds the bridge and some navigation charts where the words Zeus Faber have been scrawled on a map. Wayne has turned on the lights and Mulder arrives. He's discovered that the diving suit has a video camera on it, and he wants to review the footage. A few mere clicks later, and the trio are looking at what the suit recorded deep below the waves, the fuselage of a plane described by Scully as a P-51 Mustang. She doesn't know if it contained anything radioactive, but noting down the serial number of the plane, she suggests that there is somebody she can ask. Any takeaways so far from this other than she's a doctor, so she knows about planes?
She knows a lot in this episode already. From a grainy, hazy photo or image, she can just that canopy looks like a P-50.
Well, I love her explanation. They do go the extra mile,
and it does work. Yeah. She didn't just roll it off and they abandon it. So I do appreciate that.
My brother built model airplanes, and they were totally this. So
they were so high quality in the early 70s that they looked exactly like this, and I would have no problem identifying any ship he worked on.
I am willing to accept the explanation so far. Meanwhile, over at Gautier's apartment, he's rifling through papers at a desk, searching for something, an envelope. Inside, he reads a letter when the lady in the photo shows up, relieved and hugging him. What a nice reunion, except he's completely unresponsive, which freaks her out. She turns from him and he chases, catching her before she can escape. Face to face, she sees his eyes are now completely black. A moment passes, and from outside, the apartment door opens, and she comes out, and we see her eyes are now filled with the black oil.
Dear
Cut to
Lord.
commercial.
Well, Andrew, is this how you greet your wife?
It is. Yeah.
Okay. I thought
It's a
so.
little game we play.
Yeah. Cat and mouse. Who are you? Get away from me. No.
I say nothing for 10
I
minutes.
say nothing.
We've learned that she can just leave me alone. It's very smart.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I want to delve into the black oil as an alien entity a little bit. at this
Please
point.
do.
I feel like we have arrived.
We have
What-
arrived.
What are the rules of the black oil so far?
Apparently, it keeps people alive.
It keeps people alive and they don't have to poop for 50 years. Yep.
It can move from person to person seemingly without much incident.
A meaningful glance is all it requires to move between bodies.
Well, no. We don't see the transition.
It's the eyes have to lock. They have
The
to
eyes
lock.
have to lie.
They can be separated by pressure and deep water. They can be separated by mere inches, but the eyes have to lock.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. I mean, you might be taking that scene a little too literally. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's more of like, what's going to happen? And then it cuts away and something has happened. I don't think that it like jumped from eye to eye or that it actually moved bodies just from a look. That I don't believe that.
Well, the episode is very coy about showing us the actual transfer. So, as far as I am concerned, it
Well,
needs
we'll
eyes.
find out in the next episode, Andrew, just how violent that transfer can be. I would be shocked because they never come back to it. And it's always like a puddle underneath someone leaving their body or crawling up their skin.
How on earth does that happen underwater then?
Another question.
from the inside of a fighter plane, you know.
My only guess is that maybe, and this is just suspicion, I don't know. Like, I
have
think
to call Frank. Yeah.
either after that video, the pilot actually broke through the canopy and the oil came out of him and he died. And then the oil seeped through the, the diving suit. I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough one. It really is.
It's just a meaningful glance. That's all they give us. So,
All right. That's fair. I mean, I could be wrong. I honestly don't know. But I never looked at it that way myself.
It's pretty coy, is what it is.
Okay.
So far, it is just body jumping. That is its only power so far. It's the extension of human life and the ability to jump between bodies, thing style.
Mm-hmm.
And it leaves a coat of oil in its wake. It leaves some trace evidence
Yes.
that Mulder can scratch and sniff. After the commercial, we cut to Scully arriving at the Miramar Naval Air Station, who is arriving to see Johansson. She doesn't have an appointment, but he was a friend of her father's, so that's all you need. She drives inside. She sees kids playing on the street without a care in the world. This is a Chris Carter moment. You know, the innocence of children, didn't know what they were going to get hit by. Look at that.
Is that an official job, the manual lifting of the gate?
Yeah, totally. He gets paid extra for that.
He gets paid extra.
Yeah. Actually, he probably was a fighter pilot and he crashed out Maverick style. And now he's been demoted to gate lifting.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he's got.
Cost them a lot of money.
So Dana and Melissa were these children once, and she has a flashback of those days. It's a pretty touching scene, gotta say. There's a lot of that layered into this episode.
Oh, Melissa.
Oh, Melissa, we hardly knew you.
Oh, we love each other. Wee.
You're dead. You were killed by a bad man. We cut to Mulder at Gautier's apartment. There's no answer. So he illegally enters, looking around. Eventually, he discovers the mess in the office, papers everywhere, including a balled-up letter with the serial number of the plane within. He finds the envelope the letter came from. J. Kalinchuk, salvage brokers in San Francisco, California. Note to the listeners, Medlock Street does not exist, but 94100 does register as a San Francisco address.
Oh, it's interesting, the studying you do for locations. I appreciate it. I
feel like it's a little Easter egg. You know, if they choose to use Medlock Street, there may be something behind it. In this case, there's nothing behind it. But it's like, why choose that name?
Yeah, you're right.
Might be something.
I want to be the guy behind naming streets or picking locations for a TV show because you can just do whatever you want.
Yeah, basically. So Mulder takes the envelope and he hears a noise in a nearby room. Investigating, he finds Gauthier, who is now in pretty bad shape, probably suffering the effects of extreme radiation poisoning. Gauthier is also covered in oil. We assume the same oil that Mulder discovered out on the deep sea diving suit. I'm surprised he doesn't take a lick and just sort of is that this? Yeah, it tastes the same.
Yep.
Gauthier doesn't remember anything about how he came to be here, and he's kind of freaking out. Mulder asks about the letter, but Gauthier lawyers up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, nothing good gonna come of that.
These people could just be very avid tub wrestling fanatics. Just they oil up and they're having a good time. This could just be a false lead, this entire two-parter. With
a 50-50 diesel mix of
absolutely
ancient oil. It is very bespoke, but it adds an air of legitimacy to the tub slipping.
Wrestling. Tub wrestling.
Tub wrestling? Yeah, that's what you called it. Excuse me.
I don't even know the term.
Oh, it's official now. It's canon.
It's not mud wrestling.
No, because that would just be mud.
That would just be mud.
Oil. Shall I
go? Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay. Back at Miramar, Scully now gets to meet with Commander Johansson. And when we last saw this actor, Tom Schold, he was a farmer in Red Museum.
Woohoo!
He's my favorite beachcomber from a vintage Canadian TV series.
There you go.
Scully reacquaints herself with the commander. She's here on business, asking about a plane that was discovered at the bottom of the Pacific. She asks him about the plane and the word Zeus Faber, but Johansson doesn't remember. He also mentions that his memory isn't so sharp these days. She leaves, recalling another childhood memory about the games the kids would play out there, and leaves Johansson behind. We get to go back to Mulder now, visiting Kalinchuk's salvage brokers, where a woman is going through files. He knocks, and she responds by locking the cabinet in her briefcase and sits down to wait for him. Mulder comes in, asking for Mr. Kalinchuk, but unfortunately the woman says he's in the Far East. The camera lowers, and we see that she's pointing a shotgun at Mulder's crotch beneath the desk she sits at. Mulder produces the letter he's found, suggesting that maybe she typed it. She tells him she doesn't type. I love her. I love this character.
She is extremely powerful, let's just put it that way. She's very much not a bullshitter. That is below my pay grade. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I am a strong woman.
Well, without even saying it like that, it's just I'm just gonna be this. You want to be this way, I will be this way, and we will find our common ground or our uncommon ground.
It is a little bit of a strange exchange. I mean, it takes a weird turn, even though it was seemingly a pleasant conversation. I don't know. It just struck me a little weird.
Well, it paints Mulder as a sexist.
Which is so strange.
Yeah.
Does that ring true for you? I don't know that it stuck with me in that scene.
Well, I could look at it one of two ways. It could be that he's going in playing it a certain way. Like maybe he already knows something is up here.
Okay.
And he is just playing it like that. But that's not how they've set up the scene. They've set him up to be kind of earnest.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that I buy that it's just an act. I think that they legitimately paint him as being a bit oblivious, but he's still dogged and determined, so he's going to stake this out until shit goes down.
Yeah.
So anyway, he leaves his card after asking her name, Geraldine, and he leaves. Later, we see that he's outside staking the place out. 3 cars pull up in a halt, and 6 men in suits with French accents descend on Kalinchuk's office. But Mulder sees her driving away, and he follows in his car. So she's crafty, man.
Yeah, she's very crafty.
We could have had the Geraldine Kalinchuk show, but they didn't have future plans for her.
No.
Back in Miramar, Scully is being detained. We see Commander Johansson has a lot more pull as he arrives in his car. They drive somewhere to talk. Johansson reveals that his own son was killed in a training accident during the Gulf War. He's clearly moved by Scully's visit and wants to tell her something. After a little bit of, deep-seated speechifying, he finally reveals that he was sent to find the plane in a submarine called the Zeus Faber.
Zeus Faber.
It's all coming around full circle. Because, Mike, sometimes you have to go full circle to find the truth.
Oh, my God.
Yep. Classic line.
Don't do it.
At the airport, Mulder has tracked Geraldine as she is buying a plane ticket to Hong Kong. Scully calls with some plot nuggets. According to Joe Hansen, the P-51 was part of an escort to a B-49 that was carrying another atomic bomb. This convenient answer makes sense to Scully. Why go to the effort of making an atomic bomb when you can just salvage one from the bottom of the ocean? Doesn't make sense to Mulder, though. Why wait 50 years to get it? Anyway, can't talk now, as he's going to Hong Kong with Geraldine.
Hong Kong?
Hong Kong, why?
Gotta
talk to you later.
Yep. No answers for you.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye. Click. So as he goes to board the flight, the camera reveals Gautier's girlfriend Joan looking calm and collected in a full of black oil as we cut to the commercial. Any misgivings at this point?
No, not with the show. I've just noticed a couple things.
Yeah.
And this is not meant to offend. I've noticed some assumptions on your part.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
One being the glancing of the black oil transfer. That's one.
Okay.
Number two, you called Gautier's apartment an apartment. Isn't it more of a house?
It was an apartment.
Was it an apartment? Did I? Okay. That's fair. Maybe I missed that.
Apartment.
They may have. Maybe I missed that.
And
then you called his wife his girlfriend.
See that? I didn't see no ring.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Keep going.
Well, I don't think that they reference her at all, other than, establishing the relationship via Photoshopped picture of Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
All right. Maybe I'm assuming.
Maybe you're assuming.
This is really a realization on my part.
That's how everyone should be.
Why is he not married?
Why doesn't he make an honest woman of her? Honestly.
Come on.
You know what? They're going to share a radiation bed together. It's going to be very touching at the end.
Very much.
Back in Washington, Skinner is having lunch at a cafe when a few men in suits come in, sitting at nearby tables. It's all very innocent until one of the men asks Skinner if anything's good here. The men look meaningfully at Skinner and then proceed to big dick him, intimidating him into backing off his interest in the Melissa Scully case and leaving him with an implied threat to his future.
Yeah.
I gotta say, this whole plot line of Skinner doggedly investigating the Melissa Scully case feels a little tacked on.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Why do you feel that way?
Because he gets two scenes and they all take place here in this cafe.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'll say one more thing. What they needed was one more scene of him doing something contravening the rules, other than him just saying to Scully, I'm going to look into this. They needed him making some calls and, encountering some resistance to justify them getting up in his grill. That's what's missing here.
All right. A little bit more heavy-handed approach. Not heavy-handed, but more for the audience to see that he's actually doing something. Because right here, I guess it does appear like he's just having lunch. He's not really pursuing anything.
Exactly. Right after lunch, I'm going to make that phone call, and the guys are immediately on him.
Yeah, I guess all we had to go on is when he's talking to Scully, I'm going to appeal this decision and look into it myself.
Yeah.
That's really all we had.
And frankly, again, a huge overreaction of the cigarette smoking man. I mean, he's the one who makes it happen, but it's like, why? Because, I mean, surely the DC police could be just like, no, we're pretty cool with our decision to make this clearly inactive case where there's no new leads coming in after 5 months, an inactive case. I mean,
yeah,
you follow it up to your heart's content, but we didn't get any evidence. Are you going to find more evidence? It feels very sharp edges as a plot point to me. So,
well, it's just another one of those moments where you question the syndicate's capabilities, more like Keystone Cops, rather than
the Illuminati.
It's like they made zero attempt to cover anything up when the crime happened. They just made it inactive. So now if anyone does the slightest bit of digging, they're going to find everything they need to find. They had 5 months to clean it up. They didn't do shit.
Yeah. How dare you investigate the case we made it very easy to solve? Don't you understand your position in the pecking
We're
order?
just Keystone Cops with a lot of power.
That's right. I mean, we left you the gun. How dare you investigate the ballistics?
What the hell?
Oh, God. All right.
Okay.
Well, Johansson, I like his name being Johnson. Johansson continues his storytelling with Scully, going into a black and white flashback. Johansson was the executive officer of the submarine, Zeus Faber, that found the sunken squadron. But when a Japanese destroyer moved into the area, the sub's captain, Sanford, ordered them to go to silent running, where they stayed for 3 days. The radiation burns started to appear among the men, and they suspected it had something to do with the sunken planes. Sanford refused to leave the area. When a sailor goes crazy and shoots off a gun, Johansson knew that the Japanese would be alerted to their presence. They'd have to flee to survive, but he also knew that Sanford would never give that order. So he locked Sanford in with the injured crew and mutinied with the rest of them. Johansson's story fades as the camera leans into Sanford, and we see that his eyes are filled with the black oil.
Oh, boy.
It's been alive all this time.
So,
Mike.
Andrew, couple things here.
Oh, God, are you going to tear apart this episode? Do you even like this show?
I don't.
Okay,
no, it's
go.
terrible. Number 1, guest actor of the year.
Oh,
I'm just going to put this one here.
Definitely
Michael
gotta call him.
Bublé
Yes,
is one of the officers on the ship. Or not officer, he's just a crewman.
He's just a no-name.
He's a nobody, but
Yeah,
he gets some more FaceTime in the next episode where you can really tell it's him. And he got fired from the show for stealing food off the craft table.
I did not hear this story.
He was not allowed to eat some food, and he didn't know that. But he snagged himself a sandwich or something and got himself kicked off the show by a producer who I think overreacted. But
I should say, I mean, it's not like he's just background. He has an actual silent on camera role.
yeah, I don't know. It was during an off moment, and they weren't shooting for a while or something. So he grabbed a sandwich or something because he was hungry, and the wrong person saw it. So
I am dying to know the rest of that story. Fast forward 20 years.
Right. Well, and then he becomes super famous.
Yeah.
And I guess you talked about it in an interview or something, but that's funny. I never would have suspected that he would have been on this show, but yeah.
It's a ridiculous little convenience. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So then my next thing.
Okay.
The only thing missing from this flashback is the fade out, or excuse me, the pullback with the camera to Bill Scully's brother playing with the toys of these ships. The submarine is so fake looking.
Yeah, it's pretty fake.
It's like you could tell they just took a toy and someone was just kind of holding it and moving it down the camera.
They needed a 3-second shot of a submarine, and they got it, boy.
Even the P-51 or whatever, it's ugh.
Well,
I mean, it's 1996. I get it. It's fine
for it. So, I mean, that's not terrible, but it's
no. But there is one of the long distance shots that it's just like a little toy and some sand.
Yeah. Well,
I know I'm being harsh, but
the sub was worse.
Yes,
but they still haven't made their money back since doing Space in season 1.
2 years ago.
Yeah,
the show has catapulted into the stratosphere of success, but they're reeling from Space.
Yeah, they really have to cut corners, and they find a way here.
The last thing I'm gonna say.
You really are hatchet jobbing this episode.
I want everyone who's listening to go back and watch that short little clip of the submarine coming in. You can see it shake a little bit. Just a little bit. It makes it that much better.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoy that flashback.
They really did not need the exterior of the sub. They could have gone straight to, walking around the...
Yeah, exactly. They could have gone to the fisticuffs or whatever, but...
I wonder if they used this. Clearly, they had a boat set, for the Piper Maru. Mm-hmm. If they just reused certain sections of the boat for the sub.
I'm sure they repurposed that stuff.
Back in present time, Johansson reveals that they managed to return to Pearl Harbor, but only 7 sailors survived. Which, not sure if that sort of jibes with what we know about the alien. Because so far, it's if you're in the presence of the alien, you get radiation burns and die a horrible death. Unless
I think it's directed. I think it's if the alien chooses to do it.
Yeah.
I think.
Why would he?
Because
Okay.
I mean the rest of the show, yes, the radiation is a thing, but I think it is more of an attack than it is like existential. Like if he's in the room, I'm not just going to get sick. I don't think. I could be wrong.
Why would Sanford kill his crew then? Why would Captain Sanford want to kill the sub crew?
I think whatever, dude. Just keep going. Keep reading. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that.
Are we saying there's an inconsistency in the...
No.
Okay, I'll just keep on.
Never.
We cut to Hong Kong, present day, in a restaurant. Geraldine is eating some delicious spring rolls as Mulder joins her in her booth. He confronts her. Having put the pieces together, she is selling classified government secrets, in this case, to the French. She won't tell him who she bought them from, and she calls his bluff about him arresting her. The Chinese took his gun to the airport, but that doesn't stop him from slapping the cuffs on her anyway and dragging her out of the restaurant, to the surprise of absolutely no one.
That happens all the time with these Americans.
All the time in Hong Kong. It's a city that never sleeps. He takes her back to her office, kicking down the door and thrusting her inside. The lights are out. And from the darkness, we hear a familiar voice.
Krychek. I thought guns were against the law here.
Yeah, well, you know what they say. When guns are outlawed.
Why don't you take that gun and shoot yourself in your head like you shot my father?
Greg, I'm here in Hong Kong.
Oh, why don't you just shut up?
No way to treat your business partner, especially since she seems to be moving those secrets you're selling so well.
With Geraldine in the hallway, we hear gunshots, and she falls, taking Mulder down with her. The French have caught up with them. Krychek makes to escape, quipping that it looks like Geraldine's Mulder's partner now. Mulder struggles in his cuffs as we cut to commercial.
No.
Geraldine. I did not like her getting shot in the hallway.
No, she didn't deserve that. I mean...
Why are the French killing her?
Maybe they recognize her.
But okay, why? Okay, she sold the secrets to the French. What beef do they got with her now? I ask you. I think you should.
She wouldn't sell them more. Maybe they felt they got shafted on their price. We didn't appreciate the price.
It was an inappropriate tip.
Inappropriate.
You charge too much. We want our money back. Yeah, I don't buy that. Like, if she has valuable intelligence, I would buy them taking her prisoner. I would buy their, extorting her or trying to intimidate her.
I know why.
Okay, go.
Because they didn't want to lug her around for the rest of the episode with nowhere to put her.
Fair enough.
On the X-Files, they got to kill everyone who's not important. So
nobody wins in this two-parter.
Just because, like the very next scene, the officers are not important, so they dispose of all of them at once.
Yeah, true. I mean, the episode is super harsh, but again, I question the logic of just like I get trying to take her prisoner. I get that. Mm. But just there she is in the hallway, restrained by handcuffs. We must shoot her dead. Okay. Get her. She's getting nowhere. Get her.
She's not going anywhere.
Yeah. This is the best shot I'm going to have all day.
Watch this, guys.
Yeah, I can totally shoot her. Alrighty. So yeah, that's a little bit strange.
Fair enough.
After the commercial, the French are closing in as Mulder struggles with the keys to unlock himself. The French bust into the apartment, but the place is empty. Mulder has managed to unlock the cuffs and escape. They see him running through the streets of Hong Kong and move to catch him. But as they enter the hallway, Joan, the current carrier of the black oil, arrives.
Gautier's wife.
Gautier's partner, girlfriend, squeeze, friend. They're
squeeze.
Just friends.
Let's go squeeze.
They go to Europe together and they went to the Eiffel Tower once. There's an affection. They like each other. She was worried about him.
That's true.
But he hasn't popped the question yet. Will he ever?
Hasn't. No.
Well, certainly not now.
No, not now.
I mean, his occupation's too risky. She can't rely on him. He's never around when she needs her.
It's weird because women usually keep a guy around who isn't afraid to go down. But
you definitely need the little snare drum and the cymbal crash at the end. So then, Joan, Gautier's wife.
You don't know where
partner,
to go with that.
Who knows?
Thank you, Mike, for ruining the flow of this episode.
She shows up questioning the state of their relationship. And
why aren't you calling? Why haven't you called? It's been 2 days.
A bright light blasts from within her, and the 6 French agents recoil in pain, falling to the ground, covered in radiation burns, and Joan walks past them.
They look like pizza.
They had something bad for dinner. That's what they had, and she is just making it happen. So this is her new superpower. Is she can blast light. She can flare up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This answers a little bit of your question, where, how the radiation affects people or how they get sick in the first place. It is directed.
Yeah, totally. Except when you're in a World War II submarine.
Right.
It's not. Doesn't really track, does it?
We don't know if
know?
If they didn't flash everyone.
He deflashed them individually, and
Yes.
they don't remember. That's what it is.
I don't remember.
Okay, we're back in Washington now. Skinner returns to his favorite restaurant for lunch, and he heads to his favorite table as a man passes him to go to the cash. The waitress takes Skinner's order and goes back to cash out this other guy. He complains that the payphone's out of order, and he's going to be out a lot of money. And then he proceeds to be a real asshole about it. So Skinner, being the stand-up guy he is, stands up, and he goes to bring some calm to the situation. The man turns around, pulls out a gun, and shoots Skinner in the gut. That's Louise Cardinal.
Louise
Louise is back.
Esteban.
He's going to make a real splash.
Oh,
He's got a chance to make up for all his other bumblings.
That is real problem.
Yeah, that is a real problem. So the waitress screams, and Louise spits on Skinner and leaves the restaurant. A nice touch.
In 1996,
yeah,
this would be an overreaction almost unheard of in American society. But I could see this happening any day of the week right now.
So I will take issue with that and say that TV has bred us to believe that violence is just everywhere around the corner. Like all the cop shows tell us that every week there is a violent serial killer on the loose.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is clearly meant to be a giant overreaction, and obviously a shield, a screen for something else. But I don't know if this would likely happen. It seems to be a bit over the top.
It is over the top, and it's definitely violent. But you hear about this shit frequently at Walmart. Not every day, but I mean,
Well, listen. Your violent country is filled with 300 million people, and just by the law of probability, there are going to be 100, maybe even 1,000 wacky, crazy, violent incidents that happen every day.
Right.
Perhaps even every hour. I don't know.
Well, why didn't you do the math on that one, Andrew?
I should have done some advanced planning.
All right.
So in short, you're absolutely right. This is not over the top, and good luck wherever you live. Scully,
go ahead.
Scully returns home after a long day of travel. Her phone is ringing. She's told that 80 Skinner has just been shot. So no shower and a bubble bath for you, Scully. She heads to the hospital.
Oh man, she can't catch a break.
No,
Today
even if she goes on
awful.
vacation, there's always an X-file. But
before she's even able to start work, she gets awful news about her sister's case. Mulder sends her on a wild goose chase. Doesn't tell her where he's going, and now she can't come home after a long day of work.
But
she's got to go back out.
On the positive side, she did get to go down memory lane.
That's true.
Get
but she was crying about it.
Yeah,
it was hurting her feelings.
She never has a good day.
Never a good day.
I'd love to see the montage where she, has a moment with Queeway and is having a little bit of ice cream, and then the phone rings, and then it was like,
son of a bitch. She goes out in her slippers.
That's right. Can't be that bad. He'll be fine. What are you calling me for? I'm not his doctor. So back in Hong Kong, we see Krychek in the airport, waiting for a flight. As he walks away, Mulder ambushes him with a payphone. I like that. He ambushes him with the payphone.
He just picks it up off the wall. You son of a bitch.
WWF style smashes it over his head.
Oh my God.
Although
Chair.
I think he does hit him with the handset. I don't remember that. I think he does, though.
Yeah.
So he drags him into a corner and he steals his gun. Krychek pleads that it wasn't him who killed his father. He doesn't know who killed him, but Krychek is just a big fat liar.
Yeah.
Mulder, though, doesn't kill him right away because he's a good guy and he wants the digital tape. Krychek says he can give it to him if Mulder lets him go. It's in a locker, Krychek says, producing a key. Krychek will take him to it if Mulder lets him go. It looks like they're flying back together, so Mulder tells him to go get himself cleaned up. And Mike, this is a great little bit because apparently you can just walk on board the plane with a gun.
Well, it's pre 9/11.
It is definitely pre 9/11. I mean, they probably didn't even have metal detectors at that point, right?
No, not at all.
Although,
It's really as long as you promised you weren't going to do anything, they'll let you go
right.
board the plane.
I wonder if they're past security at this point.
I'm sure him being an FBI agent would have something to do with that.
No, they took his gun when he got to the airport.
And his badge?
Well, so what? You can have your badge. It doesn't mean anything.
I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know.
I get the idea of Krychek being able to, find a way to smuggle a gun through because he's a badass. But yeah, I choose to believe that. Well, let's just finish this off here because we're almost done. Krychek goes to the bathroom. Joan walks in after him and stands next to him in the stalls. Krychek is initially delighted until he's pulled from the floor by Joan and slammed against the wall. A moment later, Krychek emerges from the bathroom, followed by Mulder. When Mulder asks him if he feels better, Krychek replies, "Like a new man."
Oh my.
Oh. Who do you think wrote that joke? Was that Chris or Frank?
Chris Carter.
I think it was probably Chris Carter. I don't think Frank would stoop to that level of potty humor.
I love his reaction to seeing a woman in the bathroom. He's like, what? He doesn't even get time to fully react. He gets his face slammed against the tile. Oh, poor guy.
Add on a new superpower with the black oil. Super strength.
Super strength.
Yeah.
That's okay, though. Believable.
I'm willing to go with it.
If they can survive 50 years at the bottom of the ocean.
If you have the power to preserve a human being for 50 years without the need for food or water or defecation, then you probably can make them super strong too.
Yeah.
I'm willing to go with that. So
sounds good.
Mike.
Yes, sir.
Final thoughts on this episode. Give them to me.
I actually like the episode. I think it is a good start to the two-parter. It asks a lot of questions.
It does. And
it's intriguing enough for me. Unlike you, I think I actually enjoy Skinner getting involved. Not just because I like Mitch Pileggi, but I think him getting involved in Scully's case shows a level of care for his agents. He's always towed that center line, but I think it's becoming more evident that he is partial to both Mulder and Scully. And him getting involved even off camera is believable to me. So when the agents show up to kind of thwart his activities, it was just cool enough for me. I really enjoyed that. As for the black oil, it's our first look at it, so it was exciting to see something completely different from what the rest of the show had been at that point. Aliens were very much, they were either different beings entirely, or they were shapeshifters where they were acting human. This is something different. It's controlling a human body rather than killing them and absorbing or changing their own shape, that kind of thing. So this was cool. It was intriguing, and I was excited to see what happened.
So don't get me wrong. I really do like Skinner, and I like the idea of using him in this episode.
Mm-hmm. They just didn't go about it the right way for you.
Yeah, I think it's a classic problem of trying to jam a little bit too much into the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got a Mulder plot line, you've got a Scully plot line, and then you've got kind of half of a Skinner plot line. Like it gets there,
mm-hmm.
but it doesn't have enough there to make it make sense for me. Like, it just feels like these agents drop out of nowhere after he's literally said, I'm going to look into it. And then they just show up and throw the dicks around on him and like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I gotcha.
I just needed that other scene and it would have worked for me. But the thing that I'll really have an issue with in the next one is suddenly Dana Scully is in charge of the FBI and throwing her weight around. But
I want the agents here right now.
Yeah.
The AD's been shot.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you're next in command. Like, let's get Blevins out here or something. But anyway,
she could just be like that one really good employee who's trying to impress her superiors,
and everybody else is on vacation.
Everyone else, good Lord, here she goes again.
Well, those are my final thoughts for the next episode we haven't even talked about. So let me stick to this episode.
Yeah,
where, Mike, I will say that this is a classic 2-part mythology episode, continuing an arc that's been simmering for 2 other 2-parters so far, starting in Anasazi Blessing Way Paperclip, and continuing in Nisai 731, and now continuing again in Piper Maru Apocrypha. If you were an X-Files fan in the 90s, these were the episodes you lived for, where the episodes doled out little plot nuggets in the stingiest of ways, teasing out the overall story in minute detail. So, Piper Maru, it's got some great reveals, lots of stuff I love. It's got Mulder doing some actual detective work. It's got a new big bad in the form of the Black Oil, side characters with real grit. Again, a tragedy we don't get to see more Geraldine Kalinchuk. I think that was a real lost opportunity there.
Yeah.
And, of course, the return of Alex Krycek. Top it off with a surprise twist of A.D. Skinner being shot, and the episode sets it up extremely well for the second part. And Mike, let's hope it lives up to the promise.
Mm-hmm. Will it, ladies and gentlemen? Find out next week.
Find out in 1998 when you go back in time to see Sunday night. Or wait, was it Thursday nights?
It started on Fridays, I think. But then it definitely went into Sundays towards the end
Sundays
of the run.
Turned into must-see TV.
Yeah. It was definitely, by the end of the run, it was Sundays. Sunday evenings or whatever.
I can't even remember. It's been so long.
How dare you?
How dare I? Listen, when you can see anything anytime now, does it even matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's what they should add to the TV shows now on Hulu. Just, this is the date it aired, and then the time it originally aired.
Nice.
What day of the week it was.
Oh,
I remember that.
I think that you're going to see a resurgence in episodic weeklies. I think it's going to be a thing.
It's already started.
It has. And frankly, they're already adding commercials back. So it's like, it's going to just turn into what it was before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all we've got for tonight with Piper Maru.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone for listening. And for the last word, I give you the jazz stylings of my good friend Mike. Mike, go.
I don't know. Yeah. Bye. I got nothing. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at TINHXFilesPod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.